Hey guys, I'm here for one last read aloud from our book, the last section of the last chapter. So we just read all about Shirley and her friend winning the class election for the sixth grade, and then all the students just found out about the special guest coming to the Christmas assembly, and it's none other than Shirley's hero, Jackie Robinson. So all the students are super excited for him to come, and we're going to find out what happens. We just finished a chant for Shirley, and here we go. Now, 2 weeks of delicious anticipation later, Shirley sat between the principal and the guest of honor on stage before the assembly filled to overflowing. So this next paragraph has a simile in it. I want to see if you guys can pick up on it and write it in the comments below. Every seat was taken by a student or guest. Teachers, like proud shepherds, stood against the walls, smiling at their charges, who looked equally pleased to be herded there. And I'll reread it one more time. Every seat was taken by a student or guest. Teachers, like proud shepherds, stood against the walls, smiling at their charges, who looked equally pleased to be herded there. So if you think you know what the simile is, I want you to write it out and write what it means. Pressed against the window panes were cardboard snowflakes the size of the moon. The sunlight filtered through them, dampening the halls and shimmering lace. Overhead, paper garland dipped from the chandeliers, forming a canopy of red and green. At the back of the room were easels hung with paintings done by students. A snowman dancing, a Santa stuck in a chimney, a sleeping child searching the midnight skies, wooden soldiers come to life, a family praying over their holiday feast, reindeer soaring above the skyscrapers of New York, a babe asleep in the manger. In the air was the scent of pine. As the kindergarten class led the singing of carols, Shirley captured the scene for her memories. She looked at the giant spruce that dominated the stage, twinkling with colored lights, shiny bells, white doves, jeweled icicles, and miles of silver tinsel. It was topped by a brilliant star and skirted with gifts wrapped in finery. Compared to this, the one at home was positively scrawny. But to Shirley, it was special just the same, for on each bow hung a picture of a clansman, a reminder of the courtyard so far away. Shirley's heart smiled as she recalled the night she and her mother and father had trimmed their first Christmas tree. When it was done, Mother had announced, "Shirley, it is time you knew. I am with expected happiness." So in our last chapter, they used that phrase, "with expected happiness," which means she's going to have another baby. I'm going to have a brother at last, or a sister. But in my dreams, it is always a boy. Dreams or no dreams, it may yet be a girl. For a brief moment, Shirley had considered that possibly, then dismissed it with a smile. Until the doctors tell me I'm wrong, it's a boy. She had begun to make serious plans. Yes, of course, naturally, she would love him, cuddle him, feed him, walk him, diaper him, burp him, dress him, and be a big sister to him in every way. But as soon as possible, she would also teach him how to speak not just English, but Chinese, how to write not just the alphabet, but characters, which is how you write in Chinese. How to chew gum and blow bubbles, how to smack a homer and walk a yo-yo and skateboard backwards. And she would tell him stories, the ones written in books, the ones that grandfather told. Most importantly, she would tell him about the life he would probably never know. The life she had once lived in Chungking. The taste of watermelon cooled in the well, the sound of willow branches made when the clansmen swept their ancestors' graves. The fragrance of perfumed fans, the touch of the fortune-teller's finger, tracing destiny along the palm of one's hand, the view of the House of Wang as the sun set over a mountain of 10,000 steps, and especially the people who lived on that far side of the world to whom they would always belong. Then The lightning strains of Silent Night brought Shirley back to Brooklyn, and she searched the audience for her parents. When she spotted them in the third row among all the tenants of number 4 Willow Street, she winked. The tenants wiggled their fingers at her. She blushed. Her classmates found this most amusing, for they whispered among themselves and orchestrated a frenzy of waves for all to see. Only Emily and Mabel refrained from embarrassing her. Emily and Mabel, her best friends, the ones who should have been on stage in her place, for Mabel knew more about baseball than she. And Levy, not Wong, represented the best mind in the warmest heart in all the 6th grade. Poised between laughter and tears, Shirley took a deep breath to catch her high note. In the last refrain, "Sleep in heavenly peace." In the brief silence that followed the song, Shirley suddenly realized that her moment would soon come. How she had longed for it, but now that it was here she felt unprepared, as if she had never pictured it, had never rehearsed it over and over again. Biting her lip, she looked anxious at her hero, Jackie Robinson. The handsome ball player gave her a grand slam of a smile and put out all her fears. Years later, Shirley could still remember the speech he gave, could still repeat word for word what she said when she handed him the huge golden key. First came the words she had memorized. "To the Rookie of the Year, to the Dodger who made a difference, to the man who changed what has been, Mr. Jackie Robinson, a great American, I present on behalf of PS8 the key to our school." Mr. Robinson bent down and took the key she held out. "Thank you, Shirley," he said. "Thank you, everyone. I shall treasure this day." And that's a little picture. When the cheering and applause ended, he spoke again. "Remember what I said in my talk. Excel, for some day you will all hold the key to making America the greatest country in the world. Some day I hope to be sitting in an audience like this and listening to one of you give a speech as the President of the United States." The great Jackie Robinson turned to Shirley and patted her on the shoulder. "Perhaps," he said with a smile, "it will be you, Shirley." Shirley shook her head and insisted loudly, "Oh no, not me, not me." "Don't be so pessimistic. Some day Americans will elect a woman president." "Yes, but it cannot be me." "Why?" "Because I'm not eligible." "You're not?" "No, sir. Mrs. Rappaport taught us that the Constitution of the United States clearly states that the president must be born in America, and I was born in China." "But Mr. Robinson, my brother who was not born yet, he can be president some day." "He can." Only then did Shirley remember that they were on stage and everyone was listening. Now all she heard was laughter. "Oh, merciful Kong Yi," she prayed, "make me disappear." But Jackie Robinson would not let her go. He took her hand and raised it in triumph, shouting, "Hooray for the sister of the future president, Shirley Temple Wong, the American." The clapping that swept the hall seized her by surprise, and she stood very still, wondering for a moment if she was imagining it all. Nope, this was happening. This was real. Instinctively, she bowed. When she lifted her gaze again, something was in her eyes, and her vision was blurred. Maybe a tear. Yet as clearly as the flag that was draped from the balcony, she saw before her faces that she had not seen a second ago. Grandfather, fourth cousin, precious coins, and all her clansmen. They too clapped, just as they had done the night the patriarch had given her an American name. At the dawn of the new year. "What a star-spangled Christmas this is," she thought. "This year of 1947, the year of the boar. The year when dreams came true. The year of double happiness." And then that's the end. So that's the end of the book, the end of the year that we went through reading all about Shirley's adventures and her life. In the comments below, I want you guys to all write a few sentences, either a little paragraph or whatever you can, just about what you thought about the book, why you think we would read it, maybe your favorite part or your favorite character or event from the story, and different stuff like that. Any way that you want to reflect on what happened and the book as a whole. So it can be stuff from this last chapter or the ending or anything as far back as her moving and all that stuff from the beginning of the year of the boar.